Hello and welcome. It's a Sunday afternoon, which means 2 games of cricket, which means more reason for you to stay at home and stay safe, take care of yourself, and of course, your families. We're going through a really difficult time in India, and we hope that at least the sport can bring you some joy. It can bring you some respite. It should still not stop you from helping people around you, but you also need a little bit for the soul, and we hope that the cricket is bringing you the sunshine, and we are trying our level best as well. Hello and welcome. You're watching Cricbuzz Live in association with our fantasy partner, My 11 Circle. I'm Gaurav Kapur. With me, Elisa Sthalekar and Joy Bhattacharjya. Hello. How are you?
Good, thanks. Excited to be here finally.
Well, I've just got a message. 1 second. I got to read this out. Okay. Somebody is saying that the last time the 3 of us were together, that was the day with 2 super.
Okay, continue. Yeah, 2 super overs. I'm glad that I'm
No, come back. You're paying overtime this year.
Okay. Then 3 super overs. Please. Let's go in both matches. Yesterday, Simon Dool and Harsha Bhogle were both insistent that they should not have a super over in the first game because Kane Williamson doesn't do well with super overs. And then, of course, they should not have a super over in the second game because both of them are working the second game. And then I said if we had to choose one, Simon Dool sold Kane Williamson down the river and said he can have the super over. It doesn't matter. I don't want a late night, basically. I think it's because Alan Wilkins gets some good lamb chops made in the hotel. So I think Simon wants to get back in time for that. Let's have a look at the games that are being played today. The first one that is being played in Delhi. This is Rajasthan v Hyderabad. Both teams in a fair state of disarray. One perhaps more than the other. And it's not just the points table that tells you that. It's not just, we never look at just the numbers and comment on that. We peek behind the curtain and look at the story. And you can still show the points table. I'm just saying it, but just show it anyway, no? Do your paperwork. Yeah, thank you. Here it is, where you got Rajasthan and Hyderabad straight down there at 7 and 8. Lisa, do you think it's fair to say that it's not just the wins that haven't come? They've just been derailed for different reasons.
Yeah, I mean, you look at both the sides. Sunrisers Hyderabad have always been about the top order, a lot of runs, but their batters are certainly struggling, middle order as well. And then for Rajasthan, they've lost all their internationals and they're relying on the 4 that are still there. So that affects them. And the 2 that are missing, Stokes and Archer, they scored a mountain of runs, took plenty of wickets, and probably was the heart and soul of the Rajasthan side. So, yeah, the 2 different spectrums of how they've gone about it, but both really struggling.
The captaincy change, Joy. I mean, we mentioned it on the show last night that we had this discussion on our internal WhatsApp group with all of you and, Sean Pollock, Michael Vaughan, Pommy, Simon, Harsha, all of us. And there was, I felt like there was kind of gentle agreement on the fact that Warner was just looking out of sorts. And I know that Lisa mentioned that as well. Lisa, we'll just come to you in a second. Joy, first your reaction on what you made this captaincy change out to be and whether you were just kind of expecting this to come.
Yeah, the signs were definitely there. I mean, there are 2-3 things which are definite. One, Lisa has been alluding to that he's not looked himself at the toss and the way his body language, it doesn't look like a man who's enjoying himself. And traditionally, he does enjoy himself in India. And the second is that simply whenever a captain says that a decision to drop a player is harsh, that means he is distancing himself from that decision.
Yeah, he clearly said selectors. I've never heard selectors. Yeah. I don't know if you've heard it in one of these games. In this
It's clearly distancing himself. He's saying, you know what? They are a separate body. They thought of something. And I don't want to have anything to do with that. I'm saying I did not agree. When I'm saying the selectors are harsh, every team, I'm telling you, there's no team where the selectors or the coaches sit separately from the captain. Yeah. All of them get together. They sit and they decide the team together. So when you're distancing yourself from a decision, there are 2 things you're doing. One is that you're telling the world that you did not agree with it.
Okay? Yep.
The second, which is more important, is you're telling the world.
Yep.
Now, telling the world is not a good idea in any team game, which means one of the agreements that people have, and you'll have a lot of captains and coaches literally almost getting to fisticuffs. But
Wow.
What happens? At the end of the day, it happens. You fight, you argue in a room, you come out, you say, okay, that's the decision we made, we're going to go with it.
Yeah.
But if you go later and turn around and say that, you know what, that was not my decision, then you're selling the group down the line. And that is, I think, some of the things that prompted the situation to be where it is. Once that kind of distrust happens, it's very difficult for the coach and captain to coexist.
Lisa, it was that statement. And then, of course, just... I don't know if we can probably go to the group and see when I texted that, but it's probably somewhere around the middle of the fielding effort, right? Where Captain Cam went to Warner and he just looked, it was a combination of lost, confused, unhappy. And this is what we saw on camera, but you spoke with him, didn't you? You interacted with him and you felt that.
Yeah, look, just to give you a bit of the backstory, I mean, remember David Warner's nickname was the Bull. Yeah. Then it became the Preacher because, you know, he had risen again and was all happy and understood the team aspect. And we've always discussed here on Cricbuzz about the difference between David Warner as an Australian player compared to David Warner as the IPL player. He embraces this country. He smiles. He enjoys the hospitality that the Indians give him. But this tournament, right from the outset in the first games that they were played in Chennai, he just never looked. Now, I was fortunate enough to do a toss, and you know, you go and as an Aussie, you go, great. I get to see and talk to some of the players because we're not allowed to normally unless you're doing the toss. So I was like, hey, Dave, how you going? Yep, good. I was like, okay, he's serious. I know they haven't won a lot of games. He's probably grumpy because of that. But to be honest, a bit more grumpier for other reasons. What they are, I'm not quite sure.
There's something is amiss there. And now, of course, we're hearing that David Warner is not going to play. Tom Moody has actually confirmed before the game that he's not going to play. This is just is off the rails, Joy. I mean, there is fine. You don't want to make him captain. Understood. Yes, he hasn't had the kind of form in this, but he is a gun player for Hyderabad. We look at his numbers. This guy, look at him. He's delivering your strike rate, your average. Look at him. He's got 200 plus Bazras in every season, right? That's across 14 games. He's got orange caps. Great. So you say, oh, but he hasn't delivered this season. And we always say go with form over reputation. But these are not really bad numbers.
No, I think there is a number there that is something that will strike them. So one is the strike rate, 143 in 2018. Then you come to 134. This year it's 110. See, I'll tell you one thing. I don't think anyone in the Sunrisers coaching staff would have any issue if David Warner went and got 5 ducks. It happens. The best of players go through it. You go through wretched form. You can hit it. Ball's not coming off. What they are basically telling him is not. The message is, the message is not just to him, Gaurav. The message is to the entire team. Okay, they're sending a message that this is how SRH works. And what they're saying is, it's not enough for you to go there and play safe. That 110 is playing safe. So what they are basically trying to say is, look at the other teams, opening batsmen, they're trying ramp shots, they're trying edges, they're moving around the crease, they're trying to change the bowler's line. Sometimes it comes off, sometimes it doesn't. People look really stupid and get out. But they're prepared to sacrifice their wicket because if you don't score at a particular rate in this IPL now, those numbers have gone up by 15, 20 runs. You're not going to make it. Yeah. Now, what they're saying is, what you're implicit in what they're doing is saying, you're not taking enough risks. You're allowing the bowler to dictate terms. And by you as a captain allowing the bowler to dictate terms, then when we take a hard decision to try and send a message to the team, you're saying, you know what, I'm not a part of that decision. Selectors made it and it was harsh. So at some point in time, the entire team management will look down and say that, you know what, I've got to look at it now and I've got to sort this problem now. Because I can't wait till next year to sort this problem. At least I can send a message to the remaining members of the team that what is most important when you're playing for Sunrisers Hyderabad is Sunrisers Hyderabad, not the 500 runs you score with the team. So I think they've thought this through. I don't think both these guys, Tom Modi, Trevor Bayliss, they are very seasoned coaches. They're not going to do something just because they were angry today. It's not going to happen.
Fair enough, but I mean, you read this reading of the Riot Act. They could have thought the decision out and people can choose to agree or disagree with it. The only reason I'm sort of disagreeing with it is because, you thought that Kane Williamson was made the captain because tactically he's a better captain, more seasoned, more successful. And then you just unleash David Warner, your gun batsman. When you drop him, Lisa, it says more than that. It says, it probably even tells me that it was not that Kane Williamson's a better choice. It was that we just needed to get rid of this guy. And that saying that is, for me, it just, you peek behind the curtain, and I don't like what I see. As a fan of this Hyderabad team, I don't like what I see behind the curtain when this kind of a statement is being made.
Yeah, well, certainly, I think you look at the coaching staff, they're all Australians. So Tom Moody, Trevor Bayliss, Brad Haddon. Okay, you've got the owner of Sunrisers Hyderabad. She's a female who's made some pretty strong decisions in the past, whether you agree with them or not. And I know from an Australian cricket point of view, it doesn't matter who the person is. It doesn't matter how good they've been in the past. What their reputation is. If something's not right, they will address it there and then. And that's exactly what they've done. It does smell like there's more of a story behind it, which we will never know, probably. Yeah. But what they're trying to do, and I agree with Joy, is that they're sending a strong message. They're sending a strong message to the Indian players as well, domestic players, that it doesn't matter who you are, if you're not good enough and you don't adhere to whatever the team culture is, then I'm sorry, you're moved aside and we'll find someone else. And here in India, that probably doesn't happen as often, but in Australia, it doesn't matter who you are, it does happen.
Good point. That's a good little cultural insight. So if you're Indian fans of Hyderabad, calm down, all right? It is business as usual. Just relax, everyone, all right? I think we'd have a problem if they were taking Warner out and replacing him with Jason Roy. That would sort of compound the problem. If they're taking out Warner and putting somebody in the middle order, maybe they're getting a Nabi or a Holder, then you understand, all right, that's a thought process change. And Joy, if you had to, Williamson has to play, Rashid has to play, you need that middle order bull string maybe with a Nabi or a Holder. That means you have to actually make a choice between Bairstow and Warner. Geez, that is a very, very difficult choice to make. But if you had to pick only one, perhaps on current form, it would, for me, it would be Bairstow. For you?
No. For me, it would be Bairstow. Bairstow's taking more chances. Bairstow's scoring at 140, 150, 160 when he gets going. When he gets out, he gets out. It happens. It happens to the best of players. But he's trying to score fast. See, I'll tell you something. In a game like this, nobody knows. You see, T20 cricket is a bit of a lottery because you never have enough time to really get set. So you have to pray that you don't get a really good ball in the first few balls because, you just get out and it's over. But if you survive, the point of it is to show intent. I'm going to go after the bowling. Okay, that's, I think, what they're trying to signal to the players. Go after the bowling, show intent, change the bowlers' plans. And it's not about, I don't think even they'll look at their team, they'll look at their squad, they'll say, you know what, the odds on us qualifying with this kind of a situation is 10%, maybe 5% to 10%. Let's at least play the right kind of cricket with the right kind of guys. It doesn't matter whether you win or lose, because even with Warner, it would have been 10%, maybe without Warner, it'd be 7.5%. But I think that clearly the decision to drop him is not just a cricketing decision, it's a decision about attitude, not about cricket.
Don't say it. I was very worried that you were going to say that, hey, we've only got 2 points, but we can play for pride. No. We don't say that on this show. We don't say two things. We don't say playing for pride. We don't say momentum. And there's a third thing which we don't say this year anyway because we can't, which is fortress, because no team is playing at home. So thankfully, fortress has been weeded out, right? We took it out at the root of it. All right. Well, we've got, that's the thing, right? I really want to check how many players have been dropped after scoring a half century in the previous match. We'll find that out. We'll find that out. Though the problem was Hyderabad got to 171 because David Warner was stuck. He scored 50 out of 55. And that's why, 171 was just not a daunting target. Same surface, same ground is where they're playing. The new captain, Kane Williamson, has won the toss and said, we're going to chase because we just know what kind of ground this is, right? You have no idea of what's a good enough score, right? Least after last night, you have no idea what's a good enough score.
Last night's game was exceptional.
It's just 280. Yeah, it's just if at 218 you don't know if that's going to be safe, then you really want to be chasing, and that's what Kane Williamson is doing. Let's have a look at their team. They've made 3 changes, but for Hyderabad, that's just seeming like par for the course with every game. The good news for them is that Bhuvi's back in the team, recovered from his side strain apparently, so he is there. Abdul Samad comes into the team, and there's Mohammad Nabi. So there you go. They bolstered the middle order with Mohammad Nabi there, and which means that Kane Williamson is going to open the batting Pandey moves up to 3. And then, of course, they can mix and match with either Vijay Shankar or Kedar Jadhav, whatever the situation demands at that point in time. For their bowling, which they're going to be doing first, they have Khalil, Sandeep, and Bhuvi. So if there's any swing at all on offer, they've got the personnel to exploit that. And Rashid Khan, who can make the ball turn kind of anywhere, and of course, trouble batsman. There's Abdul Samad, who can bowl. And of course, Mohammad Nabi and Kedar Jadhav and Vijay Shankar if they need them. So they've got quite a few options. But here's the thing: Kane Williamson is going to be opening the batting. So he didn't just take one chair of David Warner's; he's taken both, hasn't he, John?
Wow.
Yeah, he's taken both.
But look, I still don't. I'm not sure he'll open. He might still go at 3. They might push Manish Pandey into.
No, I think he said it on the toss that he's going to open. I think he said it that he's going to open. So, but it looks like that, right? Because I really doubt if Pandey is going to open. So they've got Pandey at 3 now, and all the others are bona fide middle order players. So it looks like it. And Kane Williamson has opened before. I think the 2018 season.
He's capable of opening, but given
when
the
he was
fact
captaining.
that their frailties, I thought that he might just hold himself at 3 just to sort of give that a little bit of a cushion. I mean, come back at 1 down and allow somebody to dash up front. So, I mean, I'm surprised that he's opening, but otherwise, this is a good team. I think they've got back Abdul Samad, who are their first choice players. Suchit, last game, he looked really average. He batted well, but his bowling was just, he just didn't have any answers when they started hitting him. So I think they've solved one problem, and Nabi coming in there obviously gives them a certain number of overs, which definitely is a very strong statement for them, because Nabi is a very, very clever bowler, knows how to play on a variety of pitches. So, 2 pieces of good news. Bhuvi coming back, Samad coming back, Nabi there. This is a better team than they put out last time, definitely. I just hope Bhuvi is fit. If it's fit, this bowling attack looks that better with Nabi and him in there.
Excellent. And for Rajasthan, let's have a look at their team. They're going to be batting first. But, I've been looking for the young lad for the last... Well, ever since the tournament began. And we have him now. I'm talking about Kartik Tyagi. Kartik Tyagi is back. There he is. I just didn't understand. He was playing every game. He went to Australia. He impressed everybody. And then apparently he was fit at the start of the tournament. And then he got a niggle, apparently. We don't have clarity on that. But, well, he's fit and he's back. So you have Kartik Tyagi playing instead of Unadkat. And we've got Anuj Rawat, who is playing in place of Shivam Dube. So here's the thing. Both the players in the 171 game, batting first, left-handers who didn't get the strike rate going, which was Shivam Dube, who got 35 or 22, Warner got 58 or 55. Both have been left out of their teams, saying that we are taking no prisoners. If you're scoring at that rate and getting us to 171, which is easily being chased, then, well, we're just going to make the change. And Joy, I don't know if you know about Anuj Rawat, but so you can tell us a little about him.
Yeah, basically, Uttarakhandi also similar to, in that sense, Rishabh Pant, that he's come from the mountains, but basically stayed club cricket in Delhi, played for Delhi, solid batsman, hits it really hard, keeper as well, but of course they won't need him to keep in this case, but hard-hitting Delhi batsman, very much in that school of, that typical, gets lots and lots of Mushtaq Ali runs, okay? And again, he's not a spring chicken. He's 21 years old. He's played a couple of seasons. He knows the game. I mean, he's young, but he's not inexperienced in that sense. And Anuj Rawat is a good batsman. I'd be interested to see where they play him, because he's not really a finisher kind of batsman. He plays slightly ahead in Delhi. So I'll be interested in seeing where in the batting order do they find it, because Shivam Dube is bats at 5 or 6. Sometimes they're pushing him at 4, but he's really batting at 5 or 6 for them.
Yeah, we'll pull the team up again. And Lisa, there's been this thing with their batting order, right? I mean, they were playing Dube ahead of Miller. There was times when, the previous 171 game, Chris Morris, who was in good form, could have probably made a dent. Didn't even come out in the middle, right? Didn't even get a bat. Did he play? What is this batting order as you see it?
Yeah, look, I'm glad that David Miller is up there. I think Dube was probably the person that was just stopping them from scoring the amount of runs that they needed to. I mean, his strike rate was between 29 and 115, I think, throughout his innings this tournament. That's just not good enough for a number 4. So they've made the hard call and they've gotten rid of him. So I like Miller being given an opportunity to face more balls, potentially. Where they bring Chris Morris will be dependent on what the top four do. We've got to remember that also. Josh Buttler, unfortunately, he hasn't got a great record against Hyderabad. I think he only averages about 9. So they need him to fire and start off really well. And if they get to a position where it's the 12th or 13th over, and instead of sending in Ryan Prague or something like that, Chris Morris, I think, should come up. I think they've got to try and find some more deliveries for him to face. So that would be my suggestion. I reckon that order will be quite fluid.
Let's have a look at how you can make your team. My11circle.com is where you need to go and download the app. And, of course, choose your team. You make your team with 11 players. You mix and match from Rajasthan and, of course, Hyderabad. You make a different one every game, because every game you've got a chance to turn 1 rupee into 1 crore. And now we'll help you. We'll help you. Yes, we'll help you. We help people. We help people. Yes, we help people. Give them.
Can we get a cut, by the way, Gaurav?
10%.
We get 10, great, perfect.
Each.
Okay, now we'll help.
The winners are going, hang on, tax, 10% of them. I may just end up giving money back. Winning negative money. No, nothing. You give us your love and your good wishes if you win something and one of our smart picks works for you, right? Let's tell you who our smart picks are. We got 3 of them. Manish Pandey, Sanju Samson, and Rashid Khan. We were talking about Josh Buttler, so let's start with Rashid Khan, because Rashid Khan has Josh Butler's number, Joy, on speed dial, right? He just calls him, he says, I got you. But the thing is, here's the thing, is that he doesn't concede any, he's got him out thrice. But the aversion that Hyderabad has to bowl Rashid Khan in the power play, and the aversion Josh Buttler has had to play beyond the power play, I don't even think they'll meet today.
No, but I think if he's still batting after a couple of overs, I think they'll make sure they meet. Because this thing, it's an obvious weakness. If they can get Buttler early, Buttler is their big gun. It's really their big gun. And now that Stokes is not there, it's so Buttler and Samson dependent, it's not funny. So I think if Buttler survives the first 2 or 3 overs, I'm 100% sure Rashid Khan will bowl in the power play today. And remember, I think you're going to see this Hyderabad to be a bit more, I hate to use the word again, desperate. They'll play aggressive cricket today. So whatever they do, they'll play positive, aggressive cricket. I don't think they're going to sit back and wait for things to happen to them. So expect that matchup to be exploited.
And Lisa, they would do that, right? I mean, it's almost like you're playing in a place where you've got nothing to lose. You've got a surface that is very conducive to big hits. You've got 2 players who are big names who flattered to deceive in this tournament between Buttler and Samson. If you ever had a license to go, today was it, wasn't it, for the Rajasthan batsman?
Yeah, I agree with Joy. It is, and probably Kane Williamson is a completely different captain tactically, how he goes about things. So I'll be interested to see if he does use Rashid Khan in a different format, because we've seen it. 6 overs, done and dusted. Rashid Khan comes in 7th over.
Yeah.
But to be honest, they've actually been holding him back even a little bit later as well. But I think whilst he's picked up there's been 3 games where he's picked up multiple wickets, I think he can have a bigger impact. And they're waiting for the scoring rate or for the batters to be a bit more aggressive, and that's how he picks up wickets. So why not go in the power play when they're trying to be aggressive because of the field restrictions? So the situation has created for them to go harder. So that's when Rashid is actually his best.
Yeah.
So why not try that? There is no harm in trying it, because at the moment they're banging their head against the wall doing the same thing and it's not working. So try something different.
We've been crying ourselves hoarse about Rashid Khan, seeing him earlier in a more attacking role. Today may just be the day, because there is a change in captaincy, perhaps a change in thought. We'll find out. They've got enough bowlers to bowl up front as well, so it'll be interesting where he comes in. But let's look at our next smart pick. Who we got? Sanju Samson. Yes, we were just talking about Sanju Samson. And Joy, here's the thing. There was that one brilliant knock. Yes, it was not in a winning cause, but there was that one brilliant knock. And Sanju Samson does this every season, but he's doing it even more this week. You've just not seen that. At least he used to give you 2 or 3 knocks, and then the inconsistency used to kick in. They need more from him. Do you think he's having the same problem that maybe a KL Rahul is having or a Warner is having, that the captaincy just weighs down in your batting?
No, actually,
not Rahul after the last game. I correct myself. Not Rahul after the last game.
Actually, I didn't mind his last couple of knocks. If you see, he played one very responsible knock where he didn't need to score runs and they sort of shepherded the team to victory. And then the next one, he got a 43 of 27-28. Look, he's not in bad form. And as of today, he's scoring at 145. He's averaging about 43. He is actually having a better season statistically. It just, you see, what happens is when the team doesn't win, it doesn't look like that. But if you see his numbers after 6 games versus his numbers the year before that, actually he's doing pretty well this year.
Great. So I'm taking Rahul's name off that list. I'm taking Rahul's name. I spoke from a week ago. I'm
suggesting you take Samson's name off as well. My sense is that he's playing better this year. Check what he'd done in six matches last year. I think he's doing better this year. He's actually, because there was one innings where he shepherded his team, one innings where he played a responsible knock, and he still managed to score 45 odd at about 27. I think he's a better batsman this year. He's taking less chances. His shot selection is better. It's not such a bad knock from him. I just tend to feel that, and this is just 6 games. Over the next 8, let's see where, what we say, because I don't think they're going to reach the playoffs. But the next 8 games will be interesting to see how he goes. I actually like, and this surface will also suit him. He's played in Delhi. I think he knows Delhi.
I think. I was simply going to say that there are certain players, when you put the C next to their name, they just rise a little bit more. There is more responsibility taken on board. They look at the game slightly differently. Instead of the brash, skillful, talented player that we know and love about him, he's now the shot selection is coming in because he's looking at the bigger picture going, I need to score runs. We don't have a Stokes. We don't have the players that are performing as well as we would like. I have to take that responsibility on. Whereas normally these type of young, flamboyant players, they just play with this free will of this is how I play, suck it and see it. Some days it works, some days it doesn't. Whereas I think the captaincy has actually brought the best out of him.
Unlikely high expectations, perhaps, is what we have from Sanju Samson, is what you're saying. We're just so used to seeing that free flow. And, the first game that he was captain, he got 100. So I think he's doing all right. But they need him. I think what's fair to say is that Rajasthan need a couple of games where he just stamps his authority kind of ruthlessly across the game. And perhaps today is the day that he does that in Delhi. Our third smart pick. Well, he's got a chance, hasn't he? He's going to be playing one spot higher. That's the first thing. So he's got number 3 position. He's been playing number 4. He's done well against Rajasthan in the previous game that he played. That was in 2020. And Joy, you see that 176. Manish Pandey is looking at that and going, yes, I want that strike rate. Yes, I want it. Give it to me. Give it to me now.
Also, I'll tell you one thing. Manish Pandey is also the kind of player. This is not an express attack. If there's no Jofra Archer out there, there's nobody out there who's going to really do it out there. There's Mr. Furzur, there's Chetan Sakaria, who does a bit with the ball, but he's not express pace. There's Kartik Tyagi. I think Manish Pandey, this is the kind of attack where if he chooses to, he can use the crease, he can stand out, he can hit, he can really make a statement in this match. And I believe that's what he needs to do, because he was dropped not because he was not scoring, but because he was not scoring fast enough. Maybe this is the thing to do right now. This is the tournament. This is the match, I think. And he's got a very strong message in front of him. The team has just been sent a very strong message. I have attended a few of these team meetings when
riot act meetings.
I've attended enough riot act meetings.
But remember one more thing. Great. So then I want to ask you, how does the team react to that? Because this looks like such a calm team that if somebody was to come in and read a riot act, you'd feel like it would almost kind of agitate them and derail them. So that's first, from the outside. But you've been on the inside. Tell us how teams and people react to this.
So first things is that they wouldn't do it this time. The main team meeting would not have been today. It would have been the night before. Normally you have a team meeting and then from the team meeting you get on straight to the bus. This, they wouldn't have done it. They would have probably done it a night before or had some sort of a town hall the night before and said, this is what we're doing. They would not only do that, they'd speak, the coaches would speak, they'd say what they have to, the captain would speak, David Warner would also speak. They would make sure that everybody spoke, okay? and they put it out there so that people have a night to think about it. They'll probably say that this is why it's happened. This is a new course. It wouldn't be at all acrimonious and all that. They would want to put it there and tell David that, you know what, whatever happens out there, as a team, you're first and foremost in Sunrisers Hyderabad player. This is what you need to do. They would do that, finish it off the night before. The next day, they just have a normal team meeting, announce the team for the day and get on. But the moment you've done that team meeting, people would already know that he's not going to play today.
Jeez. Do you think he's in the dugout? Is he in the dugout? Is he on the ground? Has anyone seen him?
He was bowling.
He
was practicing bowling.
I was like, what?
He was bowling. Mind you, he was bowling. He was bowling left-handed. He's ambidextrous. You can make out seriously by switch hitting also that he's
he plays golf right-handed and everything. So yeah.
Okay, so do you think he's at the golf? Oh, he can't go to the golf course because of the bio bubbles. So he'll probably be at the
I also want to tell you one more thing. I want to take you back to history. The only guy who's played one Test match in his life and scored a century is a chap called Andy Guantem of the West Indies, and he did that. He scored the century, but he scored it so slowly that his team lost all chances of winning. It's the only Test match he played in his life. So this guy is recognized as the only batsman who played a single Test, got a century, and never played again. Never. Not injured, just not picked again.
Jeez, how slow was it?
In Test matches as that too.
Did he take like 4 days? I mean, that's just wow. Your team's really gonna dislike you, man, to do that. Let's have a quick look at the second game as well, because with the kind of overrates that are happening, we barely get like 4.5 minutes between two games to talk about it. It's Punjab and Delhi, because there's the interesting thing is this is the first of let's dance again, because this is a return game that's happening between Delhi and Punjab, because the first game that's happening today is actually the exact half point. It's game number 28 out of 56 games of the league. But this is what happened then. 195 is what Punjab scored. There was that beauty by Mayank Agarwal, who got 69 of 36. We don't know if he's fit enough to return. He got he got the ball hit on his arm and then missed out the last game. And Delhi, of course, that was Shikhar Dhawan. Supremo that day, the 92 of 49. And again, that was the game where there was a lot of discussion about captain strike rate as well, because he got 61 of 51 as an opener on a ground where obviously scoring was very easy. But Lisa, that knock of Shikhar's and then what Prithvi is doing, Delhi is doing well because both their openers just seem in cracking form, and one of them just puts his hand up and gets the job done.
Yeah, they're fortunate enough that they've got the two openers absolutely firing. But then if you look at all of the players that have stepped up when, Kagiso Rabada, Enric Nokia were all coming over, Chris Wokes comes in and performs really well. So everyone's kind of played their role, which is what you want on the bench. You want, as soon as you bring someone in, you want them to fire. But their batting order looks really comfortable. I don't think we've seen the best of Marcus Stoinis. We've seen him finish off a couple of innings. The real question mark for me is Steve Smith.
Yeah.
As much as I'm an Aussie and I cheer for them, I don't think he's the right guy to be in their batting lineup. So I'll be very interested to see what their playing 11 is.
Yeah, it looks like he's been chopping trees, and yesterday Simon Dool said that he's been in this format, and at least, he's one of the greatest Test players. He'll go down as one of the greats of all time. And, as Harsha said, even in 50 overs. But here he's getting ugly runs, as Dooley said, right? Because he's swinging for the fences. He's chopping trees. He looks like, fish out of water in that position. And what's more important is there's not enough being left behind in terms of deliveries for the big hitters. Stoinis you've not seen enough of him because he's not getting a chance, right? He's not getting a chance to be in the middle. Would you make this change then, Joy? Because Enric Nokia has also not been there. Would you then make the change, saying that we can play Nokia instead of Smith, and then you get, you drop an Indian bowler and replace it with an Indian batsman, to bowl straight there?
I mean, at this point in time, Nokia for Ishant is a fairly straight swap. And depending on the surface, you could do Nokia for Ishant. And because Avesh is really bowling beautifully at this point in time, you have Nokia and Rabada, and there are enough batsmen out there. I mean, Lalit Yadav just walks in one day, just what a performance he does. He's a powerhouse player. Yes, amazing. And look at it. He was dropped. He was out of the team. He comes back. They've lost Ashwin. They've lost, for a couple of matches, they've lost Mishra. and they've still bowled so well.
They didn't have Akshar. Yeah. It's quite interesting. I mean, the thing is that, when you look at options and if you say, no, we need more batsmen, our bowling is just fine. Even Sam Billings there on that batting lineup instead of Steve Smith. He gives you an option as well. He's quite a gun T20 player.
Yeah, he is a gun, but I guess it's trying to figure out in your playing 11 for that surface, for that opposition. So that's why I'm thinking, I agree, I think Nokia needs to come in for Steve Smith. And you can have a Jinke Rahane play the same type of role Steve Smith is doing. To me, they're exactly the same players. One fidgets a little bit more than the other. But apart from that, how they go about compiling their runs is exactly the same.
Yeah. And on the other side, Joy, if you look at Punjab, my only question with Punjab is if Mayank Agarwal is not playing, would you rather see Chris Gale opening with Rahul?
I actually would like to see Chris Gale open. And, there are lots of arguments against it because what they say now is at the moment Chris Gale opens, they'll throw spin at him and it'll take it away. But I think he's mature enough to take that single, allow Rahul to come in at the other end. The more balls Gale gets, the more dangerous he can get. And at this point in time, if your other opponent is going to eat balls up, it's going to hurt you. So I think I'd like to see Chris Gale open because I think he has the maturity to handle spin bowling or at least make sure he's not stuck. And look, the spinners that Delhi have, they're more or less conventional spinners. They're not these mystery Varun Chakravarti kind of guys who you don't know where the ball's going. I mean, straight off spin. I mean, they're very good spinners. I think Akshar Patel is a brilliant bowler, but Akshar Patel is a left-hander. So it gives that little bit of an advantage to somebody like Chris Gale. And I think Lalit Yadav, quality of Lalit Yadav, somebody, Chris Gale can take a single get-off strike and allow Rahul to do the damage. So I really believe, this is my belief, top players in this format, top players have to be given as many balls as possible. That's my belief. Simple.
Lisa, then last question about Punjab. David Malan for Puran, perhaps? I mean, he's got...
Has to be.
Yeah?
Poor guy. Yeah. Puran can't buy a run, can he? He has looked so out of sorts. And you kind of... Even the last innings, when you flashed to the dugout when he got out, everyone was like, oh, no, not again. For the poor guy. I think everyone feels so sorry for him because we know what he's capable of. Just hasn't been able to produce. So he has to go. Enough's enough. I understand he's young and he's talented, but I think you've got Dawood Malan, who's number one ICC T20 batter, and he hasn't been given an opportunity. But Puran, you can see there, he's got the whole trifecta, hasn't he? Diamond duck, first ball duck, silver duck, bronze duck. So he's racked them all up. God bless him.
Peking duck pancake. Just yum. We got to remove that visual, man. It's it's Nicholas Poor run, right? I mean, that's what it's looking like. It's just sad. It's sad.
Brilliant. I thought Nicholas Poor run was brilliant.
It's just and I feel sad for making. He's such a good player. You want to watch him bat, but maybe a rest for a couple of games, and the Manish Pandey business model, sit him out for a couple of games. Maybe he can come back and rediscover some form. But that is clearly not working for them. All right, I'll tell you what never works for me. Never does. I can never crack it. Is the Joy Factor question. But what works for me is that when Joy is here, he can read the question because reading also doesn't work for me, especially when you said those 400-word questions. So today will be a short one because he's reading it. It'll be short, I know. Sure.
It is.
You can see there. Big bold font.
What are the two numbers that should start and end this sequence? 147, 106, 120, 136, 26, 140. And there's one number in front, one number at the back.
Yeah.
That's all I'd say.
All
the hint I can give is historic.
Yeah, the first one is pi and the second is 3x. That's my official answer. That's it.
Yeah, good.
I'm sliding on it.
You've won. I'll give you you've won. Well done, Gaurav.
I'd like to thank my friends. I'd like to thank Lisa. Thank you so much for being the judge. No, there are no judges. It's only the factual answer and only Joy has the key. So unlock it. Hashtag Cricbuzz Live. Hashtag Joy Factor. Send in your answers on Twitter. Right now, all we have is the guessing game. How much is Rajasthan going to get on this Delhi surface? Remember, last night, 218 wasn't enough. So what are you going to say? Guys, what is it? 250? 280?
He's just trying to draw us off. He's just trying to draw us off.
Well, sorry, who's
going-
winning, by the way? Who's winning on this?
This year's very confused.
This is very
Okay.
confused. Everybody's got like a few wins, right? It's very
Oh,
confusing. Everybody's got a
Okay.
few wins. I've got a few wins. I've had a good run the last few days, by the way. I've had a good run. Captaincy change, scores being predicted. I've had a good run. Let's see if the two of you can end it today. So who's going first? Lisa, go first.
174.
174. Jeez.
Yeah. Low
Rajasthan
ball,
ain't winning at that. Yeah. Joy?
I'm going to go lower, 160.
So you leave 182 wide open for me. So there you go. We've got the 160s, 170s, and the 180s. There you go. 182.
Still 182. Don't believe. You're doing it still.
Yeah, I thought 171 was the number last week, right? That was the number that everyone was
The
scoring.
actual number, yeah.
The actual number was 171 every time. But I'm saying it's 182 today. All right, I just want to quickly tell you about Cricbuzz Plus. I hope you have subscribed. I hope you have signed up for it because it is above the noise. It is where all the premium content is. So you can unlock that, written word, great videos. We've got Cricbuzz in conversation with Harsha Bhogle. Great season of that coming up. So just subscribe to that. Right now, I want to say thanks to Lisa and Joy. Thank you so much for being here. Gaurav Kapur, you were watching Cricbuzz Live in association with our fantasy partner, My 11 Circle. We'll see you at the end of the 10th over with Cricbuzz Combox. Thanks for watching.